What's up, guys? We are live here on the Bone Jar. Guess what, guys? We have a very special guest tonight. I've been promising it to you for a long time, and he's here. He's with us. He's behind the scenes right now. That's right, guys. Chris Spangler is here with us tonight. You know him, Phluxy. He's here, guys. I'm bringing him on. Hold on a second. Hey, Chris, what's going on, dude? How you doing?
What's up? How you guys doing?
Good, man. I am so excited that you are here. It's been about a couple months I've been tracking you down, trying to get you on the show, and we finally nailed the time that worked for both of us, and, man, I'm excited if you can't tell. We have a lot of questions from the field, but I got a ton of them for you. How's your day going? How you doing?
Good. I didn't do much today. Played some video games. Been playing some little Grand Theft Auto here and there. I do Grand Theft Auto roleplay sometimes on Twitch, and that and a game called Rogue Company. That's about how my days went.
Nice. Did you ever do the drone flying in the Grand Theft Auto? Do the mod where you can fly around with?
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
That thing is sweet, huh?
Yeah.
Well, cool. Chris Spangler, how did you get your name Phluxy right out of the bat? How did Phluxy come along?
So it's kind of like evolved over time. I want to say back in middle school, my gamer tag used to be Phaser. But I spelled it with 2 Z's, and so everyone would like mispronounce it and say Fazeer. And I was like, this is not going to work for me. So I changed it to Flux with an F. And then that was like right around the time of like Flux Pavilion and EDM starting to pop off. And then everyone was like, oh, you're all over Flux Pavilion. And so I was like, no, not really. So then I changed it to the PH, but I changed it to Fluxion, and then like Fluxer, and then Phluxy, and Phluxy has been the one that's just stuck with me for the longest. I think it looks the best. I think it sounds the best. It has nothing to do with flux and soldering, unfortunately. Although it is a great little joke to put in here and there.
I like that, though. You know, I love that Flux. How did you first get started flying in drones? I mean, what got you to the sport?
So I was in the Army for 6 years, and I got out, and I really didn't know what I was going to do. I had no real plans. I did IT work for the Army, and so I kind of just knew I was going to go into that field. But I also knew that it was boring, like super boring. And so I've always wanted to be more creative and take pictures and create something. I like making things. So I went to school for digital photography and started looking up like cinematography stuff and just working around all of these different spaces that involve imagery and video. And I came across some drone videos, and I kind of like dove into the Mavic stuff and the Phantom stuff and started doing research around there. And then I found a steel video. I think it was like a steel and like a Sharpoo video. And I was like, whoa, this is like the perfect mix of nerdy stuff, because obviously I'm a nerd. I play video games all the time. I do IT work. I also have been into cars my whole life. I've always had like little sports cars and built them myself and done all the work on them myself. And it was just like this perfect mix of like all of that, the techie stuff, the nerdy stuff, a little bit of electronics here and there. And so, and the skateboard element, because they were doing tricks and stuff. And so I was like a skate kid, too. So it was kind of like this trifecta of everything that was really cool to me at that time. And like I do with everything, I kind of just dove off the deep end. I got on a simulator and I met some friends on the sim. Actually, back in the day, FP Vegan, you guys probably all know who he is. We became friends on Liftoff like years ago. And we met there, and we were just racing there ever since. And we both ended up going to DRL tryouts in 2018, and then became even better friends. And beautiful story of how we weaseled our way into the drone racing league.
So did you pick up a sim first or in real life first? What was
a sim?
A sim. Liftoff was first for you. When did you touch your first real life drone? How long had you flown in the sim before you did that?
My first real life drone must have been like Actually, okay, so it was probably like a month and a half into flying the sim. I was building my own drone, and I had a buddy here that was into drones, and he was just like, bro, the way you fly, like, I know you can do this. Don't worry about it. I just want you to fly the drone and see how you do. And I went out and flew it, and I was fine. And I was like, okay, that was like, a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Like, I can actually transfer from the sim to real life and go do this. So I guess that was my first experience, but my first drone came like a couple weeks after that. So I'd say maybe 2.5 months after I'd started on the sim. Lots of research in between the sim and building my first drone and getting all that put together, because the ready to flies at that time weren't really an option.
Right.
So yeah.
So do you remember what the first drone you built was? What frame it was?
Oh, I think I have it over here somewhere. I haven't sold any. I haven't sold any drone parts. I have a graveyard of just everything that I've had the whole time I've been flying drones. But it was a. If you remember Sharpoo's frame back in the day, it was kind of like a pod frame in the center. It wasn't really a long freestyle frame, but you could fit a GoPro on top. It was kind of like that, but it was a Banggood one. It was super cheap. It was like Razor Star, and yeah, it was like a Sharpoo knockoff.
So you start flying drones. You're in the into the video games. Your friends are like, "Dang, you're good." What gets you to Vegas? I mean, what gets you into the DRL? Walk us through that. I mean,
so
you're like, "Dang, I'm good. I'll just show up and start flying."
Yeah, in the early days of Liftoff, I had they had like little online tournaments, and they were just time trial tournaments though. And I started doing those because I always, like, every game that I play, if there's a competitive mode in that game, I'll play that mode exclusively, and I won't do like anything else. So if there is like a leaderboard or something that you can chase down, that's where I'm gonna be. So as soon as I saw those tournaments, I just started grinding them out and started working my way to the top of those. And then I can't think of the other simulator. There was one simulator that they hosted an online tournament, and then the top like 10 people went to Europe to race. And it was like I don't want to say Rotor Rush, but it was something similar to that. And actually, what was the guy's name? Can't think. FPV Doug. He's an Australian dude, I think, who still flies. He beat me in that just by like a hair, just by the tiniest little bit. And I was like, okay, that was my first time actually like racing drones against other people competitively. And then I found out about the DRL sim. I had like seen some stuff with the tryouts from that year, because that was like right after the first tryouts. The Jaws one. And so I tried out for the tryouts the next year coming up. As soon as that tryouts was happening, I was like, all right, I'm going to grind this out. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get in there. I qualified within the top 24 for that year. So we had to go to New York, actually, is where they had that one at the Microsoft Mixer Studio. And I went out there. I got to meet a bunch of DRL pilots. I got to meet a bunch of the other guys that I was flying with online. And that's when I was kind of like, I like this. I like the community. I like these people. This is definitely something that I want to do. And I ended up actually getting 4th place in the tryouts that year. And that was like first time in a space, racing against other people. So I was just immediately kind of like it sucked not getting to like right out of the podium on the first race, but it was also just like a fire under my ass, And from then, that whole next year, pretty much at least for an hour a day, like minimum. I wouldn't go a day without touching the sim. I would fly the DRL sim. And then, once tryouts got announced and that started rolling around, I started grinding even more. And there were some days where I'd get done. I was working an IT job here, and I'd get done with work at like 3, be home, eat 4 o'clock, done for the rest of the night. Just DRL sim all night long, whether it was by myself or with other people. There's a lot of grinding.
Yeah. How long did you do that for?
I don't know. Countless hours. I mean, I've yeah.
Have you ever looked at and seen how many hours you have on the DRL sim? If you click that little button in the bottom left, what's it say for you?
It's not going to be like, some people aren't going to like it. No, it's not even that much. That's the bad part. I'll click on it right now. Right now, after all of this season, I'm at 771.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah. There's a lot of people I know that are 1,100, 1,200 hours. So that's
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah. Wow.
but like a lot of my racing on learning how to fly on a sim came before the DRL as well. It came from Liftoff, it came from Velocidrone, it came from that other stuff, and then the DRL was like a very purposeful thing. You flew the DRL sim to fly the DRL drone, and there's no other reason. Whereas, like, if we wanted to train for 5-inch stuff, Velocidrone was the choice at the time, because there was no real choice of other drones in the DRL sim for you to choose from, that felt more like a 5-inch racer.
Yep.
So, I mean, if I could tally up the hours between all of them, it would be probably like 5,000 or something. My liftoff is at like 2,500, I think.
Yeah, I totally believe it. Probably closer to 10,000, really, because you get to that mastery level. It's incredible. Sims versus real life. What do you prefer?
Oh, real life, 100% all day.
100%. Does sim come close for you? Does sim do it for you? I mean, is it just entirely just practice?
The sim, yeah.
What
the
purpose
sim
does the sim have in your life?
The sim for me, unfortunately, doesn't do it for me. And that was my biggest struggle for this season. It was so hard for me to practice and really stay sharp, just because A, I had already done it so much, and B, like, that was my ticket out of it. At the time, it was like, I do this really hard for a really long time, and then I never have to do it again.
Right.
But unfortunately, here we are. Fortunately and unfortunately, if we didn't have the sim, we wouldn't even race this year. So we gotta look at it like that,
Yeah.
But
definitely.
yeah, it doesn't cut it. My heart. I want the rush, the adrenaline, And sometimes racing on the sim, you'll get a little bit of it, but it's not like real life where there's real consequences. There's someone across from you, nothing will compare.
Yeah. Amen, brother. So, digital or analog? Where do you fall on that one?
Ooh, I am a recent convert.
Yay! Welcome.
to the digital. Yeah. Good. I mean, I won't fly. It's made flying fun again. It got to that point where, like, flying and doing freestyle stuff and just going out and, like, trying to do FPV was sometimes a chore, and it was just like, if I fly behind this, I'm gonna lose signal. And now it's like, wow, I can fly anywhere that I want. I mean, within reason, and it's like way better video quality than it was before, and it makes it like so much more fun to just go fly and explore because of that video quality. Like, I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, but most definitely makes a huge difference. However, for racing, obviously, it's going to be analog.
Yeah, until the latency issue is addressed. And really, I mean, I'm not a good enough pilot to even tell the difference myself. I can barely tell any latency on that at all. But I'm sure they'll work that out for sure. So, do you build your own drones?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Never buy a ready to fly.
I've been gifted many ready to flies. I've had lots of companies send me their ready to flies, and I fly them. There are some purposeful ones. Like, I have a Beta 95X with a D-case GoPro on it. Like, obviously, that's a purposeful drone. But everything else, I have built myself, tuned with the help of your buddy Miwo and some other people. I don't know you've talked to that guy, and he's a genius when it comes to tuning quads.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
He should patent that stuff.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, when you build your drones, do you have any, like, advice or tips that you can give someone who just started building? Because it's so frustrating for that new builder. What would you say to someone who just is getting into building?
I think the biggest takeaways from being able to solder. Here's another thing. I've been soldering my whole life. I've been building electronics and, like, tinkering with stuff since I was a little kid. So drones was not my first time soldering by any means. But I would say, and I'm going to go against what a lot of people say here. I would say as hot as possible, the least amount of time on the PCB as possible. Make sure you just tin both well, real quick, tin, and then a nice pair of needle nose pliers. You can get that wire right where it needs to be, secure it in, and just give it a tap, a little tap. And if you're getting those little spiky things that come off the top, do the tap and swipe it back, and then you'll have perfect joints every single time.
Dude, that is the best advice ever. And having those tweezers or needle nose to hold it right on it is the best advice ever. So good one. I hope you guys wrote that down. What other hobbies do you have besides? I know you mentioned video games, but what else do you do?
Everything. I dabble in like everything. I can't I do sim racing, like with the full sim setup for like driving, mainly drifting.
Oh, cool.
But I have I have an electric skateboard. I ride that sometimes. That's fun. I play golf. Play a lot of golf.
What's your handicap? Do you keep track of your handicap?
14.
Wow.
We're working on it.
You do golf. No, that's great, man. That's awesome. Nice.
Yeah, I've been golfing for a while, but that's like my buddies and I thing. It's recently picked back up over the last couple of years because a couple of my buddies are finally growing into golf, which is such a weird thing. Like, why do you have to get older to play golf? But yeah, it's golf, disc golf too. I play disc golf happens in the winter because we can't play golf on the golf courses, so we can go out and throw them in the snow. Nice. And what else? Yeah, I mean that's like the main ones. Well, driving.
You mentioned snow. Where are you? Where do you live? What area of the country?
I am in Minnesota.
Minnesota. It's cold there most of the time. Is it year round winter up there? When do you get summer? Is it?
No, it's actually like, let's see. I'll tell you right now what the weather is outside. The weather outside at nighttime right now is 37 degrees, and that's good. That's good. Wow. But next week we'll get up into like highs of 57s, and that's t-shirt weather, buddy.
Wow.
But we had like when that whole polar vortex thing came through, it was negative 33 here.
Oh man, what do you do when it's negative 33? You just do you have tiny whoops? You fly indoors?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, I actually recently just went ice fishing with my buddies out on Lake of the Woods. We took a trip with all the boys. We rented a sleeper shack from a resort way up north. By pretty much Canada. The lake borders Canada. It's actually half the lake is like in Canada, half the lake is in Minnesota. We drove 25 miles out on this lake, and we all slept in like a shack out in the middle of the lake and just fished for 3 nights.
Dude, that's crazy. Like, I can't even imagine. I'm cold thinking about it, that story. Oh, man. All right. So let's get a little deep on you here. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, man? What is your trajectory? 5 years from now, we get in our time machine. What are you doing?
I'd like to still be racing. I hope that the youngins don't come and take over. I want to. I'm just barely hitting my stride. I feel like I'm barely getting into my prime, and I don't care what anyone says about the young kids taking over. To be honest, all of us. Older guys definitely have it in us. It's just a matter of setting aside all of the side gigs during the season and not working other jobs. But I would like to have made a bit of a cinematic name for myself, like the other guys are doing. They're all dabbling much deeper into that stuff than I am. I've been getting there lately, but I mean that's racing is only gonna go so far. I feel like. And cinematography and being able to create a product with what we're doing is going to be something that can go forever.
Well, we have a question from the floor here. It says, what is the beard secret? Is there a secret behind the beard?
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be a secret, but beards make you go faster.
It's well known now.
Yeah. It's kind of a fact. But I think, 6 years of shaving this thing every day, they say that it makes your beard fuller, and I think that helped me out. And good genes, of course,
Dude, you're getting all the good secrets here, guys. I hope you guys are writing this stuff down. So the cinematic stuff is pretty interesting. What do you like to film when you go out and do that? Are you kind of job driven, or do you do it based on what you like and then kind of post? I mean, how do you approach the cinematic stuff?
Yeah, I think any opportunity for me to create something that that is appealing to the eyes to me, something that's pretty, something that you just want to watch. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be drift cars or extreme sports or anything like that. I think that something can be made with anything that you're doing. I've seen one of our guys here do a fly through of a movie theater with nobody in it, and it's like the way that he did it, and the music and all of the stuff, and like the sound engineering really makes it something that I kept watching and I wanted to watch, but it was like a movie theater that I've been to locally before, and it's like, why am I even watching this?
And it's empty.
Yeah.
Right. But it's the cinematic feel for it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything that you like to film, like specialty, like cars or, RC stuff, or anything that you go after, or do you just kind of let your heart guide you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I like, obviously, I've driven little sports cars, and all my cars have been drift cars my whole life. And I don't drift like professionally or anything, but they all have the ability to, and they all do get slid around the track from time to time.
Nice.
So I've always been like part of that space, and to just be there and to be able to help out the guys and create content for them is a space that I really like to be in. So if I had to pick my favorite, it would definitely be drift cars. There's nothing like the smell of burning rubber on the racetrack, and gasoline and rubber. It's something beautiful.
Yeah, your Instagram page, it has all sorts of awesome stuff on it and your work. So if you haven't checked that out, guys, go check that out for sure.
It's kind of all over the place.
So you mentioned where you'll be in 5 years, and kind of where do you think DRL will be in 5 years in drone racing? I mean, how do you see it evolving? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but where do you think?
Yeah, so I've been like a big part of the esports space growing up, and competitive Call of Duty and all these other games, and I've seen these guys go through this same phase that we're going through right now of this beginning phase of building up an industry around video games where before people never thought that it was possible, right? And obviously, clearly, this guy's making millions playing video games now. So, I mean, that's where I see it going. As long as DRL keeps making the right moves, and I think that they are, with our last live event at Arizona, that was a banger. Like it was way better than anyone could have ever imagined. And it's unfortunate that the whole virus happened, because that's what I imagined this whole last year to be, had that not happened. So moving forward, I mean, I think that they know that that's the way, and that's exactly what they want to do, is bring drone racing to the masses in a live format. And I think maybe within even 2 years, we could be having live races in cities everywhere. As long as we take care of this little bug in there,
Oh man, you ain't kidding. So let's talk a little bit about that DRL kind of vision of, is that like, do you see it as more like a monster truck tour where, it goes city to city and it's the same pilots flying from city to city, and you buy a ticket and you go and watch the race? Is that kind of how you envision it? Or do you see it more like like baseball teams, like you get on a team and your team's playing this team, and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I'd like it. So this is my vision, and not very many people agree with me. There are a couple people that have like entertained the thought, but that's exactly how I the way I'd want it to be is ideally expand the roster of pilots, get a lot more talent in, and have a regular season, a regular point season. And then at the end of the regular point season, you have another. They could be who knows how many races long, 20 races. Let's say that we're banging them out, we're grinding, racing all the time. Do a 20 race normal season. Then the top half of that, let's say it's 24 pilots or whatever it may be. Then the top 12 from those go off to a playoff season, right?
Right.
Now it's starting to get down to the real heavy stuff. 6 more races of that. You narrow it down to the finals, which is a 3-race series of the top 6 from that playoffs. So So you're never really out of it as long as you're doing good and you can keep working your way up. And then it really, because points are going to reset in between, the regular season and the playoffs and the finals. So then no one really runs away with it. And there's still a chance for anyone to come around and perform and take that away,
I love that idea. And I think it opens up a lot of drama and a lot of place for people following pilots and kind of the celebrity status that we give to like basketball players or golfers even, that we follow around golfers, and it's kind of that same deal. Like you can root for your guy or root for your team, and if everybody's in it till the end. I really like that. So I hope they put you in charge of the DRL sometime.
Yeah, I would like that too.
Freestyle or racing? What do you prefer?
I don't have a real hard opinion on that. I think each one has their place. And
what do you like to do?
I like to race, obviously. I love competition. And that's my main drive is competition and being able to, enter the arena with a bunch of other great drone pilots, and only one of them is going to exit as a winner. So, but there's also definitely a place for just relaxing and going and exploring a new area. And like, that's what originally got me into FPV, was that exploration, that freestyle, doing flips in the park, doing cool tricks and showing it to your buddies. And like, they both, I can't say that I like one more than the other, because like I said, they're both pretty equal.
I love it. What's your favorite trick to do?
I don't know, dude. I don't like, yeah. So I'm actually, so here's the thing. I got that book from Vespula, the FPV dynamics. And I am so shocked at the amount of detail that this guy went into to write this book, because there's things in there that like I've been doing. I didn't know they had names. Like I didn't know all the tricks that you're doing in the park have names. Like I'm just flying and flipping my drone around and making it do like weird trippy stuff. Right. I kind of have that like same style as like Willie or Johnny. I've flown with Willie a bunch, and I've kind of like picked up some of that, of just like that mind-bending movement of making the drone do things that people did not think were possible.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite kind of stuff, is that stuff that you're just like, how do you do that? Or like, I'll watch my videos back sometimes and I'm like, what was I doing right there? But a lot of like weird, like reversal movements, a lot of stalls. I love doing stalls and just like falling and all sorts of, it's just, I don't know. I just throw my drone around and flip it and do fun stuff. I don't know the names of many tricks.
Well, you definitely developed your own style. You definitely have developed your own feel. You can tell when you're watching Phluxy fly, and that I think is something that every pilot wants to strive for, is to kind of get your own style, your own flavor to it. So, and not do the same thing every time. What's the best advice that you could give a new pilot coming into this sport?
The best advice.
Quit. Don't ever try to get out, no competition.
I would say find a friend. And if you want to race, find a friend that wants to race and push each other. That's how you get better. You could sit by yourself and grind hours and hours and hours, and you might get 20% better. But if you have a friend that's pushing you and you're really like bouncing stuff off of each other and learning that way, I feel like you're just accelerating the speed at which you're learning.
That's awesome advice. Who's your buddy? Who's the one that pushes you right now? Who are you pushing?
Yeah, so towards the end of the season, myself and Sky like really started, myself. No, all those guys actually, throughout the whole season, we would do like office hours training, where like we'd get, if they had nothing going on, we'd have Jet, we'd have Gab, we'd have Nub, we'd sometimes have Sky in the mornings, but they would be early mornings, and we'd just get up and all of us would just start racing together and just run laps for hours and hours. And someday, there was like a 2-week stretch where we were doing 8-hour days this season with each other. Like we'd get up in the morning. Yeah. We'd log on Discord, start grinding. and just keep going. And 5 o'clock hit, and I was like, that's done for us.
Wow, dude. Yeah, that's the dedication it takes to make it to where you're at. There's no doubt about it, for sure. Who's your support team? Do you have someone who works with you when you fly and when you fly in real life, or are you doing it all by yourself?
I pretty much do everything by myself. I mean, if I fly locally here, yeah, most of the time, I mean, there's no DRL pilots super close to me, so I'll just go set up a track by myself and just run like 20, 30 batteries a day. And then if we're coming up to a big event, we'll do a camp. Like I've done camp with Vanover and Nub a couple times, where Vanover came up to Wisconsin and Nub flew up, and we stayed over there at one of Vanover's buddies' houses, and just had a bunch of land, and we just set up a track for 2 weeks straight, and we were flying like around 100 batteries every single day during that. And yeah, we did that. Another time I flew down to Texas. Nub and I, like right before COVID really got nasty, Nub and I flew down to Texas to do another camp with them. I will probably be going to Colorado sometime this year to fly with Sky and Amari. We're going to do a little camp with those guys, get those guys up to speed in the Racer 4, hopefully. But yeah, I think that's the best way, is to, just do a training camp, scrimmages, just like any other team does with other teams. You gotta run the scrims.
That's pretty mind blowing to just think about you guys just sitting around practicing like that and just grinding away at it. It's like it's mind boggling. It's like I'd love to be a fly on that wall for sure.
And Vanover, he'll do that by himself, and he'll
sorry.
He'll just run 100 packs a day, like just by himself. And I don't understand how he does that. I don't like the mentality and the dedication that it takes to do that by yourself. I would lose my mind. I would absolutely lose my mind.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I had to take my glasses off, so I'm blind. So sorry for a second there. Somebody paid in the stream to make me do that. And by the way, guys, if you're in the stream, please enter the raffle. We're doing a $15 giveaway to Pyrodrone tonight. Pyrodrone.com sponsored this show tonight, so thank you, Pyrodrone, for sure. And it's a free raffle, guys. So if you want a $15 gift certificate to Pyrodrone, just enter that raffle now. All right, there's your commercial. So, who are your sponsors? I mean, Pyrodrone is the best sponsor in the world for me. Who sponsors you?
So I don't really have any sponsors right now.
No way.
Yeah, I mean,
you want me to talk to Pyrodrone for you? I mean,
I'm a Tiny Whoop team pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would actually love Pyrodrone stuff. There's stuff I buy all my stuff from Pyrodrone anyways.
Hey,
like I don't know.
I'm sending them this clip right now.
Yeah, I did have some sponsors with Demon Power Systems back in the day. I helped design their motors and stuff, and I was sponsored by GemFan, but I just don't fly 5-inch like that anymore. So I would like to pick up some like more freestyle oriented stuff. Like if I could get a battery sponsor. If I don't know what's going on with Trappy either. Trappy needs to hook me up.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
I can't believe they're hanging Phluxy out to dry, guys. There's a lot.
I tried to get on Tattoo for a while, but
man, I'll represent you, dude. I'll get you some sponsors. Holy camole. So, what other work would you do if you weren't a drone pilot? What would you be doing?
Oh, I'd be sitting at an IT job somewhere, running someone's network and messing with servers.
Yeah, well, thank God you're a drone pilot. Not that doesn't sound super fun. So, who do you look up to? Who do you idolize?
Who do I idolize?
Yeah, past or present. Who have you looked up to, either today or in the past? Actually, both.
So, there is a guy who owns. He might be out of reach for anyone that's not into the esports world, but his name is Hector. He goes by Hex. He's the guy who created he created Optic Gaming. He kind of raised another kid named Nadeshot up and sent him off, and now Nadeshot runs 100 Thieves. But he's just everything that he does turns to gold. Like he started Optic Gaming brought it all the way to the top. Optic Gaming was one of the best esports organizations for a while, and they still are to this day. He created his own fishing company called Guggen Baits, and also a great company that's popping off. He has manages a bunch of other YouTubers that you might not even know. Like, there's this whole group of YouTubers that are called the Good Squad that do golf YouTube videos. And they all each have like their own channels, and he like manages them too, and like does all this stuff. And it's just like, to see someone do exactly what I did. He kind of broke away from doing a desk job and started Optic Gaming back in the day and quit that job to do Optic Gaming, and then has since, over the past 12, 15 years, built on top of that this empire. It's just like, he's a king. He's a king, you know, and I aspire to be like that man.
That's impressive. Yeah, absolutely. So do you have a favorite pilot? I mean, obviously, besides yourself, but I mean, do you have a favorite pilot? Someone that you're like, damn, that guy's good.
I mean, I don't really like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I like any pilot for their skill. I like pilots for like who they are, you know? Like,
that's cool.
Top of my list is probably Jet. Jet's like one of the most down to earth, like genuine guys I've ever dealt with. And he's a great pilot too. So, you know, I mean, he's, like I said, he's just one of the dopest guys. You ever need anything, any kind of like, any questions that I have about any of the stuff that I'm doing that's been going on, he's been such a big help with like starting off with DRL and just getting me into it and all this stuff. So I'll give a big shout out to the 2-time.
That is very cool. Very, very cool. I told you there'd be a couple softball questions here. Pineapple on pizza. Are we for it or against it? Where do you stand?
Oh, we're for it.
Oh, yeah. It's excellent. So far, we've scored 100% on everyone answered that question correctly. Excellent. What about dogs or cats?
Dogs or cats? Dogs for sure. Cats don't.
Another correct answer. Excellent.
Dogs actually have emotions, and cats don't give. Cats don't care about anything. They don't care about their owners. Like they don't have any kind of like emotional attachment. No. They're just, they would kill their owners if they could, and they thought that they could get a good meal out of them.
That's funny. That's funny. So, question for the field: does Phluxy have a tiny trainer? Do you have a tiny?
Of course I do.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you fly it a lot?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I would like to get to some of the tiny trainer races, but I don't know. It's just kind of like cold outside. I guess I could fly it inside somewhere, but
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we actually were building a tiny trainer on the show in a couple of weeks. So, is FPV growing or dying in your opinion?
Oh, it's growing.
Yeah, growing.
It's growing for sure. Yeah.
What can we do to make it grow faster?
I think we need to integrate more with esports. I think big players, you know, no one wants to listen to Phluxy. I've said this to many people before. No one wants to listen to Phluxy. Some of the big players need to start working their way into the esports industry and getting us in there and get some esports casters, get some esports talent to come fly with us. Whatever it is, that is the people that will do this and enjoy this. So like, I think we're marketing to the wrong crowd, you know?
Who should we market us to?
I just like Twitch. Why are we not on the front page of Twitch? Right? Because that's the, you know, like that is the way, that is where all of the nerds that are actually going to like this stuff, that are actually going to like dive deep and totally bug out on drones are going to be.
Yes. Dude, can you run for mayor, please? President. Phluxy for president. Have you been following any of the FAA regulations, any of the laws that have been put into place lately?
You know, I see things here and there, but I don't, you know, it's mostly like I'll see a Facebook post, I'll scroll through it and I'm like, whatever. Yeah. I don't got time for this or something like that. But it's most of the time it's like, I don't know. Even if it's skateboarding's not a crime, bro. What are you guys going to do to me? You know, it's the same kind of thing. Droning ain't a crime, buddy. You're like, I'm not doing anything wrong. So at the end of the day, it does like, within reason. I'm not saying I'm out here breaking all the rules, but the rules are going to get broken if Phluxy's flying because I don't really care.
Yeah, I will edit that part out. You never said that.
Yeah.
So the new DJI drone, the new FPV drone, you've been following that controversy that's brewing here. I mean, is it a piece of $2,000 garbage, or does it have any value?
I don't think it has. I mean, for someone who's already in with drones and already is like, has figured it out per se, you've messed with Betaflight. You know how to manage your batteries. You've built a drone. You've soldered something together. I don't think so, because the video quality from that is not as good as what I'm going to get from a GoPro on a drone or something like that. So why would I ever? Because I look at drones as tools now. Granted, I am hyped for one aspect, and that's the fact that I saw the thing flies for 20 minutes, and that sounds dope, right? That sounds awesome. So I don't think that it is for the average FPV pilot. I think that it could be for aspiring FPV pilots, someone who doesn't want to dive super deep but wants to have the experience and has some money to spare. I think, like, personally, like, I've been trying to get my dad to FPV for a long time. I think this is the perfect way to do it. I thought maybe Wings would do it, and I kind of like tried to plant that seed in his head, and that didn't seem like it was the move for him. And he has a Mavic Mini, one of the little small ones or something, I think. And I think that this is probably the best way for me to get him to fly drone.
Are you?
Because he's scared.
Are you pretty close with your dad?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, he lives in California.
Where it's warm, where sane people live.
Yeah. That's where I'm from too. That's where I was born. But
you had a choice to move there, and that's all good, man. I'm not knocking Minnesota. It's just freaking cold. It's just cold, man. I hate the cold. So, what's the best advice Dad ever gave you?
Best advice Dad ever gave me. That is a rough one. Probably don't be silly, wrap your willy. It's saved me a couple times,
Did you hear that, kids? That is very important. Very important advice. Probably the best damn advice Dad could ever give.
Yep.
I love your dad already. So, what drives Phluxy? What makes you get up in the morning every day and go, man, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna be the best damn drone pilot on this planet. Why? What makes you do that?
I don't know. The idea of being a star and being on the stage and being able to own that space is what's driven me this whole time. So to have that taken away is kind of like, really hurts, But yeah, I mean, that's like, I've grown up, like I said, in the esports area, playing competitive video games and always watching all these guys come up and get to the main stage and really like make their name on a stage, and then that's who they are. And that's where we were just getting to, and I was starting to get there. And that's what I want to do. I want to be able to perform and put on a show for people and really, get people excited about drone racing and get people stoked about what we're doing, because it's dope.
It's that entertainer's rush that,
the
same thing a comedian gets up there when he makes the whole group laugh. When you get the gasps and the ahs, it's like, that's what you're living for. I freaking love it. So, what do your friends think you do? What do your friends think of this whole thing? Like, do they know that you're like on TV all the time and a drone pilot, like one of the best on the world? I mean, what do your friends think of you?
Yeah, so I have like a group of my local buddies, and they all follow really, like, they all watch all the races, and do all that. And then I have like my high school buddies that, I've grown up with my whole life, and they don't care, bro. They they do not care whatsoever. I don't think they've ever watched a single DRL race.
That's hilarious.
And and they always make fun of it. They always say, like, they always called my drones Hot Wheels, and they're like, why don't you go fly your Hot Wheels around? and just like always just knock it. It's funny. Like it's all we always talk smack, but that's that's like your high school buddies that you grew up with. That's just I feel like that's the nature of them.
That's so funny. So what's the best part about being a DRL pilot?
The best part about being a DRL pilot is I get to like love what I do every day. I don't ever wake up and be like, damn, I gotta go to work anymore. Like that's gone. That's it. Some days, I mean, this last season definitely felt like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm flying drones for a living, and
yeah, that's got to feel great every single day. You got to pitch yourself every morning like, is this real? Do I really get to do this? That's darn cool. Do you think has your fame changed you in any way?
No.
Nah?
No, it never will.
No? That's cool. That's cool. Well, man, I am super excited that I got to talk to you for so long and that you answered so many questions generously. We're coming right up to the hour here, guys. So, man,
that was an hour?
That was an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, can you believe it? But it's been probably one of the best bone jars I've had. You've been such an awesome guest and super generous, and all the awesome answers that you've shared and just some personal stuff and all that just really is very generous of you. So from the bone jar and all of our followers, I certainly appreciate the heck out of you. I'm going to pick the winner here. Let's do the winner. And maybe you can be cool and announce the winner here. Close entries. And here's the winner. Can you see the stream?
Yeah. So Rain 118 has won a $15 gift certificate.
Woohoo! Pyro Drone got a new customer. All right, cool, Rain. Well, how that works, Rain, is I will whisper out to you after the show and just ask for an email address that I can send that gift certificate off to. It's just a code, and you just go and enter it in. So right on. Any questions from the floor here before we get out of here? Looks like 100% pineapple on pizza. Everybody agrees. Good deal.
Grow out the beard. The beard's coming back. The beard is never going to go. It only got shorter because I have to wear a mask over it. I promise.
Yes. You did mention that you are going to be growing it back out for the season next year.
Yeah, I'm not cutting it down again.
Yes, because I think that's your trademark. Everybody knows you and loves you by it. Right on. Well, hey, I super appreciate Phluxy, you coming in here and hanging out on the Bone Jar, guys. It's been probably one of my favorite shows. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and your time, and thank you so much. And put in a good word for those other DRL pilots for me, all right? Tell them, hey, it's not so bad. Tell Jet to come on, I'd love to get Jet on my show. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll put the word out for you. I appreciate you bringing me on, too. This is good. It was good questions. And, yeah, it was a dope little conversation.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much, and you guys have an awesome evening out there. All you guys in Twitch land, you got some good instructions tonight from our new Supreme Leader, Phluxy. We're all voting for Phluxy for president, guys. We're gonna start the campaign, or at least the head of the president of the DRL. But thank you guys for hanging out with us on the Bone Jar.
Excuse me, sir.
Halloween,